I'm going to make a simple workbench out of driftwood material I have found on my hikes, and this thing is a good start. I haven't done anything like this before, but how hard can it be? This is my stash of driftwood planks and studs, and this board will be the top of the workbench. There we go. That center stud prevents everything from moving around. Now I'll reattach the studs I removed, but this time they will be screwed on tightly. Now I'm measuring how tall I want it. 1 meter seems to be the optimal work height for me. I need two 90-centimeter studs for the feet. Combined with the height of the top and the base of the feet, the total height of the bench should be 1 meter. I assume I need a stud across the feet to strengthen them. Also, I can use it to put stuff on. I can probably use this cutoff for something later. The feet are on. Now the next part is to make a foot base or whatever it's called for stability, so this thing doesn't tip over. I'll saw up two pieces of the same length, using this thick plank thing I found earlier this winter. I measured it up so they will be somewhat wider than the top of the bench. That ought to give it good stability. I've measured up where the foot will be centered on the base. Now to drill some holes for guidance, then I'll screw the feet on. Well, this doesn't seem good. This piece of the plank was rotten. The screws just vanish into it. This one was fine, though. I don't have more of this size lying around, but I recall seeing another one where I found this one. I'll take my dog on the evening walk there to see if I can find it. I did indeed find another one. Dirty, but at least it was not rotten. Same drill with this then. I'll saw it up and screw it on. And there we go. Now it's standing quite firmly, but it would most likely bend over if I were to lean too hard on it. I probably need to strengthen the base with some extra studs. Too big. This looks stupid and ugly. This will surely be better. Now I need to make 45-degree angles. Same length sideways as height should do the trick. Well, that's a crappy cut. Kinda hard to do with a handsaw, but I'll make it work. There we go. Good enough. I'll use a splash of glue too before I screw it. That might have been a bit much. Well, there, fixed. One side done. Now I'll do exactly the same thing on the other side. I didn't have any more 2x2 studs, so I had to take a shore hike and see if I could find some more. This is my haul. And there we go. This will be the remaining support studs. The foot part is done, and this is what it looks like so far. I also glued and screwed on the small corners on the sides of the support beams. The next step is to saw the top board so it gets the same width as the bench. Well, that was tiresome, and it took like 5 years. This is going to be awesome when it's done. The board was too short though, so I'll use the cutoff for the remaining part. That's it. All the pieces are ready, but before I can screw them to the studs, I'm going to go over the workbench with a sanding machine, knife, and fine sandpaper, because the whole thing is full of splinters. Now I'll go over the whole thing with a sander to remove as much splinters as possible so that I can handle it without getting my hands penetrated by tiny wooden needles. That should do it. The worst areas are safe to touch now, and the top plate is quite smooth. Time to screw it on. The battery ran out of juice, so I'll do the remaining screws later tonight. Over to the next step then. I'm gonna pimp it up some with colors, so I'll go through my color samples container and see if I find something cool. These are my favorites. Not sure what to use where yet, though. I'll start by burning the lower section and see where that takes me. It's quite windy today, so the blowtorch just keep dying. I'll end today's session and resume tomorrow if the weather is nice. Most of the darkest burned parts now are soot. I'll give it a scrubbing with a sandpaper sponge thing now to remove that. Now I'll let it lay here to dry. Then we'll see what it looks like in some hours. This is what it looks like now. It looks weird, so I'll give it a round of anthracite gray stain and see where that takes me. There we go. Now it has a nice dark look like it's been treated with tar. Next up is the top. I'll use a dark walnut stain I bought on Amazon for that. Now I'll give it a good final sanding to sand away some of the stain and to make it fully smooth. And this is how it turned out. Gorgeous and smooth AF. The next step is to make a skirt, or what to call it, around the top as a lovely touch, and it gives some extra centimeters of space too. This is starting to look nice, but now I'm out of same-size planks. I'll have to go to the shore tomorrow and hopefully find some. I did find a couple of pieces, so now I can resume. The skirt is done. Now it just needs a little tune-up and it's a wrap. The next and almost final step is to make a shelf I can put tools and stuff on so that I can keep the top clutter-free. This plate I'm about to cut up is also something I found by the shore. sawed up, sanded, ready to be screwed and nailed. This part will also need a skirt. I have already cut them up. A little sanding and it's good to go. Now the bench itself is done. It just needs a bit of addons and fine-tuning before I can finalize it with a coat of clear varnish. First, a simple screw where I can hang the handsaw. Next up are some holes where I can put pencils, drill bits, and so on in to prevent them from rolling off the bench. Two big holes and two smaller holes should be sufficient. Now an end stud where I can push things against it to hold it in place when I'm sawing and stuff. Too tight. Need a larger hole. Straight into the screw. That messed up the spade bit some. This corner hole was a bitch to drill, so I have to clamp the stud and drill through that. This is why I made those 4 holes to put things in. Should have used them. There we go. Now to retrieve the drill bit. The bit is magnetic and it seems strong enough to be lifted. That saved me a trip to the hardware store. This is what it will be used for. Now the next step is to hang up a litter bin to throw sawdust and stuff in. Here we go again. The drill bit fell between the planks. Perfect. I'm gonna lower this shelf thing because it's a bit too high up. I have to lean down to see what's under there, and it doesn't fit spray cans. That's better. Only a couple of things left, and I can start on the final step. I'll add a tool holder in this spot that could come in handy, but first I'll apply the varnish. The end is finally near on this project that took quite a lot more time and work than expected. All that remains now is to restain the lower section as it got a bit scratchy and has sawdust stuck to it. Then I'll burn the skirt and edges of the shelf, stain it, and then finally apply varnish to the whole thing. Now the shelf will have a base color difference, so when I apply the leather tan stain, the skirt and edge will look darker and more worn than the shelf plate. There we go. This looks pretty nice and old. Just the varnish left now and this project is a wrap. That's it. Now I'll let it dry till tomorrow, then we'll see what it looks like. And here we go. The workbench is complete. It turned out much nicer than expected. If I had room indoors, I would keep it inside as a furniture and make a new crappy one to keep outside.
Once again, our esteemed hero has crafted a masterpiece from the raw materials of nature's bounty. With deft hands and an eye for beauty, a workbench has emerged. We hope you've been inspired by the transformation of driftwood into a functional work of art. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more amazing projects, don't forget to subscribe to our channel